Fear Saga. Let's talk about it. So on my last video where I added The Will of the Many to the reader's cut, I said something along the lines, The Will of the Many had to be somebody's top 10 for sure. It's that great of a book. But then right away I asked myself, so what are my personal top 10s? And the Fear Saga, it's a trilogy, sci-fi trilogy, that happens to be one of my top 10s that I want to add to the reader's cut. So I came across the Fear Saga by way of R.C. Bray. I was on a listening binge to him. I had listened a few of his books, including The Martian and other military sci-fi that he had. I mean, I was just like book after book after book that he was narrating. I was listening to it and I was eating it up. But this one in particular stood out to me in a massive way. Without spoilers, here's the premise. What if humanity's first contact with aliens was not an invasion, but rather a covert plan to slowly break political and power infrastructure in the world, so that when the aliens did come, there is no more, I guess, resistance from humans. That is the premise, the core of the book, where a few alien agents get sent ahead to Earth to scout, to infiltrate, and the author does it in such a believable way that is like alien among us, walking among us. You know, they have this mechanical bodies that are fully human looking. Obviously with that comes synthetic mechanical strength, awesome power of a machine, and it's great. It's just great. But what makes this book great, and what also makes it maybe not for everybody, is that it's an indie author doing this. An indie author managed to pull this off. He published the book himself. I don't know what was the editing arrangement between him and his editor, but this book feels like the author wrote what he wanted to write and he didn't care about anything. Like, that is his greatest and detrimental strength, I guess, because he says what he wanted to say. He wrote it the way that he wanted and he didn't ask for apologies. And in a way, many authors, I feel like, are probably jealous that this book got so far, and while this author was able to write it the way he wanted to. There's a lot of wonky sentences, long sentences, a lot of repetition, a lot of punctuation issues, a lot of missing things, missing words, added words. But when R.C. Bray reads it, it cleans up. The whole thing cleans up. It sounds like a sci-fi opera, poetic thing that is just sci-fi candy in your ears. It's just so good to listen to, and you could just feel the genuine passion the author had for his story, and it comes across easily, cleanly. But if you were to pick this book up and in a Kindle version or reading format, you might not feel the same way, because there's a certain way that R.C. Bray brings the characters to life with the different voices, the different accents, and it just like it melts in your brain. It makes an entire movie appear without you having to think about it, worry about it too much. It just kind of paints itself, and it's easy to follow. It's entertaining, thrilling. I cannot recommend this book enough if you like sci-fi. If you don't like sci-fi, if you're teeter-tottering, or if you like well-polished books, then this might not be the book for you. But if you like sci-fi, if sci-fi is the thing that you like, it's just that simple. It's just that great of a sci-fi. What does the author do exceptionally well? Well, as I touched a little bit just earlier, the sci-fi feels unfiltered. It feels like new territory. This book is, let me look it up. This book is 11 years old and it still feels like it's on the bleeding edge of sci-fi. That's just how great. I mean, I read a lot of fantasy and sci-fi books, and this one always stands out. I've read it a few times. I read the whole trilogy a few times. That's how good it is. It's kind of my go-to comfort, feel-good book, even though there's nothing to feel good about in this book. It's all gloom and fear. But it's well done in my opinion. And when somebody asks for a recommendation for books, for sci-fi books, this is one of the ones that I always try to throw in there. Like, there's this book that's great in ways that you don't expect. You should read it. Oh, another great thing about this book is that there's not that much hard sci-fi. There is attempts to explain the science behind what they're doing, but it's like surface level and it's easy to follow. You don't have to really think about what's happening, what's going on. You just, the whole time you're like, a popcorn, this is great, I know about resonance chambers. That's what, even though it's probably not the correct science or it's not so scientifically hard sci-fi, it's still great sci-fi. That's, I think, I think that's like the perfect level of explanation where sci-fi still becomes enjoyable. Like, for example, a lot of people complain about Project Hail Mary because there's a lot of hard sci-fi, there's a lot of math in there, and it's, for me, Project Hail Mary was fun, but I know that if you're new to the genre, you're gonna be like, what the hell is all this math? The Fear Saga delivers on the promise of sci-fi without the boggling down of trying to make it real, and you just buy it. You fully, completely buy it. You never question it once. You're like, this can absolutely happen, and if it does, I want to be on their team. Yes, this is exactly how I would treat an alien invasion. Yes, this needs to happen. If an alien invasion happens, you're buying the whole thing. If you are ever in the search for a great sci-fi book and you're willing to give a new author a chance, and in the author, this is the book that I'm betting on. This is the one. So if you haven't read it, I would recommend it wholeheartedly, but it's not a reader's cut unless I have an official score. So, and for the official score to be a thing, we need to go into spoilers. Spoiler warning, you've been warned. One of the things about this trilogy that is kind of the big letdown is that book 1 is great, book 2 is as great as book 1, but book 3 kind of just lets everything fall apart towards the end, towards the middle of the book, and you're really enjoying book 1, book 2, and book 3 just kind of like flops in your face, and you're just kind of like, what about book 1? What about book 2? You're just thinking about it over and over again. What about book 1? It's because the sci-fi gets a little bit too gruesome in book 3. I mean, the name says it itself. I think the author was planning for this. Fear the sky. He's actually looking for ways that you might fear what's coming. And, it gets kind of dark, kind of sinister. It's just a little bit like, overwhelming, the things that we have to do as humanity to survive an alien invasion. He doesn't try to sugarcoat it. It is what it is. It has to happen. It is what it is. And, you have people's brains operating machine kind of sci-fi, which is good, but it gets a little bit too dark. Yeah, I don't it's just a little bit dark. That's it. It's one of the bad things. The protagonist. So this book has a protagonist problem in book 3. In book 1, you're like, this main character is probably one of the coolest, chillest, most relatable people that I know. Book 2, the same. You're like, I really like the main character. You're like, yes, that's cool. This is a regular person doing something big. I like it. It could happen to anybody. It's very relatable. On book 3, the author decides to cut out the main character out of the whole thing. He doesn't die or doesn't, but he sidelined the main character so hard, gives you a sense of like, oh my god, the story is not good anymore just because you're missing the main character so much. And I understand where the author is coming from, because he's trying to make the conflict bigger than one person, bigger than one entity of people, or even like a group of people. Is just all over the place. It's humanity versus alien kind of a thing, not this group of people versus an alien invasion. And I get it, but it doesn't feel delivered that well, because you don't know who to follow. You don't know if you should be following, even though the book is written in omniscient point of view, which is just head jumping all over the place. And he does an excellent job at that. It's just that in book 3, when it matters the most, you don't know who to follow and you're just kind of a little bit lost. That's one of the bad things. Absolute worst thing about this book is that the author wrote this book and kind of disappeared. That's it. There was no more Stephen Moss. There was no more Fear Saga. There was no spin-offs. There's no other books that he has written. There's nothing coming from this author. Not even saying farewell. Not even saying I'll be back. Not even nothing. This was it. 1, 2, 3 books. Probably one of the greatest sci-fi authors of all time. But we don't know that because he's not going to write anything else. He's not going to give publishers a chance. This man wrote what he wanted to write and left. Glad that Audible was able to secure a deal with him to narrate his books. But man, you know, if this channel ever blows up and you know I start getting real engagement here, I'm gonna try to seek him out, try to like look for him so I could conduct an interview, see like what happened. Why did he leave us with these 3 gems and just disappeared? Like when he knows that a lot of people are looking for more books from him, and he just said, I don't know, I don't want to write anymore. I don't know what happened, if it was a feedback or what. All in all, this book gets a solid 17 plus. The awkward dialogue here and there that not even R.C. Bray can fix. Other than that, it's super enjoyable. If you're looking for a great sci-fi recommendation, this is it. It's like a sci-fi movie in your head from start to finish. And even though book 3 is a little bit of a letdown, it's not as bad as The Death Cure, which like Maze Runner did. It's still passable as a good book. And by the way, if I'm talking about a book on Reader's Cut, it means that I like it. I will never talk down to an author or say anything bad about an author. If I didn't like a book or I DNF'd it, it's not gonna appear in this channel. Only good books are going to appear in this channel. I'm gonna try to keep it like that. So if you read it, you know it. If you haven't, this might be your sign to read it.